you shared so many wonderful stories when we were getting to know each other before. And I really wanted to capture specifically that one story. I think you were in New York and there was someone who really resonated with what you were singing and then said something to you. And you're like, no, I've created the flow here. I know what's going to happen. I know the journey that I'm taking you on. And you watch as people heal through music. And I know I'm rambling a little, but I said this to you before, and I do believe it. Music is life. It it when I think of certain tracks, when certain music comes on, I'm going to say the radio because I still listen to the radio in the car. Not everybody does, but I'm still a radio listener in the car, and you hear something from a time in your life and it evokes something. And I do believe music does heal. So yeah. With all of that said, I'm going to hand it off to you now.
Okay, good. So, oh, wow. So I kind of want to back up a little bit. And this is stuff that we talked about before, but I think, we're all divine creations, and to create is divine. And so I think, that's the first thing for me to understand. And so when I hear a piece of music that touches me in a way, I say it's the divinity inside of, that creation channeled through another artist that then, goes straight to, my heart chakra, and then, maybe to the second chakra where, creation occurs.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the first piece of it. It's got to hit me another way. So then I can then, in fact, be divinely inspired to then, bring forward something that's going to touch and inspire somebody else.
Mm.
And so when I'm putting a show together, I'm very aware of the journey from the very beginning, right? And so when I put the show together, like the first two songs specifically have to be, there's a better word than invitation, but right now I can't think of what it is, but the invitation to have somebody join me on my journey and into my space so that we can have a communal experience. And so the specific thing that you're talking about is there's a song on my new album called Supper Time that has a particular history. And when people listen to it, I've actually infused the history of the song I've infused the history of the song into the song in a spoken piece that I do toward the end of the song. I don't know that I want to give it all away. I think I'd rather have people have the experience of the song. But it definitely, the song, all of the songs are going to take you on a journey. That's going to take you to a particular place. I performed the song live a few times and actually had the experience of watching people cry in front of me while I'm singing the song. And so in this particular situation in New York, there was a woman sitting in front of me, and I finished the song and she looked up at me and she said, "Well, I'm sad. You have to make me happy now." And so, of course, inside of the show, I was very aware of, and I think there's a responsibility as an artist, if you're taking somebody on a journey, that you kind of have to take them through a number of different emotions and thought patterns and whatever else. Otherwise, you're just kind of keeping them in one place. And I don't know that there's a healing that can take place, but I think if you allow people to have the range of their emotions inside of a musical experience, it's beneficial. It's much more beneficial to them and more healing. So I had set up I had set up the show so that like right after that, there's a song that's very humorous, somewhat ridiculous, does make a social commentary about women and youth, and I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Um, and so it was like I took people from that moment of really considering a very dark moment,
Mm,
right? And then taking them into this ridiculous situation, and people are busting up laughing, right? And I don't know somebody else's journey. What I do know, and I think that Wendell Pierce, I'm a huge fan of Wendell Pierce's. So if you don't know who he is, I'm sorry for you, but he's a wonderful actor and he's extremely talented and very versatile.
mm,
Um, and I've had the pleasure of seeing him on television a number of times in movies, and I actually was in New York when he was doing Death of a Salesman.
mm,
And just I thought it was extraordinary and very moving. But he wrote a book called The Wind in the Reeds. And in the book, he talks about acting specifically, but I think this is true for any kind of an art, is the more you allow yourself to be vulnerable, the
mhm,
more universal the experience is for your audience.
mm,
And so for me, when I'm performing, I need to open myself in a way to my own humanity, to my own vulnerability, to the creative piece of me that is divine, to then give it to somebody else. So, whatever their journey is, hopefully something that I'm providing resonates in their space to shift something for them.
mm.